Did you know that Power Rangers 2017 was intended to launch a 6-film franchise but never got a single sequel? Or that despite an impressive cast including Bryan Cranston, Elizabeth Banks, and rising stars, the film lost an estimated $74 million? What about the fact that the much-hyped film received a tepid 51% on Rotten Tomatoes and was described by critics as having one of the most zigzagged tones of any big-budget studio film? The ambitious reboot of one of the most recognizable franchises in pop culture history crashed and burned so spectacularly that Saban ended up selling the entire Power Rangers franchise to Hasbro the following year. When the news broke that a darker, more character-driven Power Rangers movie was in development, fans had every reason to be excited. So how did a film with a $100 million budget based on one of the most recognizable franchises in history, with genuine talent both in front of and behind the camera, end up becoming one of 2017's biggest box office disappointments? Before we break down exactly where this promising reboot went so disastrously wrong, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to catch all our deep dives into cinema's greatest disappointments. Reason number 1. Delayed Ranger transformation. The most significant factor in Power Rangers' failure was the film's baffling decision to withhold its iconic elements until the final act. While developing characters' backstories is important, Power Rangers made the critical error of making audiences wait far too long for the actual Power Rangers content. Viewers didn't see the fully morphed team until approximately 92 minutes into the 124-minute film. That's nearly an hour and a half of setup before we actually get to see the Power Rangers in action. This decision fundamentally misunderstood what audiences, especially longtime fans, were paying to see. The original TV show typically had characters morph within the first 5 minutes of an episode. While the film aimed for a more character-driven approach, the excessive delay created a massive pacing problem that tested even the most devoted fans' patience. As critic Owen Gleiberman of Variety noted, the film was 2 movies in one, neither of them particularly good. The first was a teen drama about troubled high schoolers, and the second was a rushed 30-minute Power Rangers movie crammed into the final act. Director Dean Israelite later admitted in interviews that his structural decision may have contributed to the film's underperformance. This prolonged wait might have been forgivable if the character development had been exceptional, but many viewers felt the first 2 acts dragged significantly. By the time the Rangers finally morphed, the damage to audience engagement had already been done. Reason number 2. Mishandled Legacy. When rebooting a beloved franchise, studios face a delicate balance: honor what came before while charting a new path forward. Power Rangers 2017 catastrophically failed on both counts. The film's approach to the Power Rangers legacy was oddly conflicted. On one hand, it maintained the core character names and general premise. On the other, it drastically altered nearly every visual element that made the franchise instantly recognizable. The Ranger suits, arguably the most iconic visual element of the entire franchise, were redesigned so extensively that they barely resembled their classic counterparts. Instead of the sleek, fabric-based suits with distinctive helmets from the original series, the movie opted for alien-looking armor that many viewers compared unfavorably to Iron Man or generic sci-fi designs. The Zords received an even more radical redesign, appearing as alien mechanical beasts that bore little resemblance to their dinosaur-inspired origins. Even Goldar, a fan-favorite villain, was reduced to a mindless molten gold monster without any of the personality that made him memorable. Reason number 3. Tonal Whiplash. One of the most glaring issues with Power Rangers 2017 was its wildly inconsistent tone, some of which veered chaotically between teen drama, comedy, and apocalypse action, often within the same scene. The original Power Rangers TV series maintained a relatively consistent tone, campy but sincere, with action that never took itself too seriously. The 2017 reboot, by contrast, never seemed to decide what kind of film it wanted to be. The movie begins with a crude cow-milking joke, then transitions to a serious car accident, followed by somber discussions of terminal illness and sexuality, only to eventually include an extended product placement sequence featuring Krispy Kreme donuts during the climactic battle. These jarring shifts made it impossible for viewers to emotionally connect with the film's narrative. Mike Ryan of Uproxx highlighted this problem in his review, writing, "Power Rangers has one of the most zigzagged tones of any big-budget studio film I've seen in a long time. It's jarring at times, especially how often it goes back and forth between gritty and silly." Reason number 4. Weak villains. Perhaps no element of Power Rangers 2017 falls flatter than its approach to the franchise's iconic villains, particularly Rita Repulsa and Goldar. Despite Elizabeth Banks' admirable commitment to the role, her version of Rita Repulsa bore almost zero resemblance to the beloved villain from the TV series. Gone was the gleefully campy, theatrical overlord with her distinctive costume and cadre of minions. Instead, Banks portrayed Rita as a feral, mud-covered alien who spent much of the film wandering around Angel Grove alone, eating gold and mumbling to herself. While Banks clearly tried to make the most of the material she was given, the script provided her with few memorable lines and even fewer opportunities to showcase the charismatic villainy that made Rita an iconic character. The redesign of her appearance was so drastic that many longtime fans didn't even recognize the character. Even more disappointing was the treatment of Goldar, who in the original series was a distinctive, personality-filled henchman with a unique design and a memorable voice. In the film, Goldar is reduced to a mindless, faceless creature made of liquid gold with no dialogue or character whatsoever. Reason number 5. Rushed character development. Despite focusing most of its runtime on character backstories rather than Ranger action, Power Rangers 2017, paradoxically, still managed to deliver shallow and uneven character development. The film assembled an impressively diverse cast and introduced some genuinely interesting character concepts, including Billy being on the autism spectrum and Trini questioning her sexual orientation. However, these potentially rich character elements were often reduced to brief mentions or underdeveloped subplots. Jason, the Red Ranger, and Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, received the lion's share of screen time and development, while Zack, the Black Ranger, and Trini, the Yellow Ranger, were noticeably shortchanged. Zack's storyline about caring for his sick mother was introduced but barely explored, while Trini's struggle with her sexual identity was relegated to a single campfire conversation. R.J. Seiler's performance as Billy Cranston, the Blue Ranger, was widely praised as the film's standout element, bringing genuine heart and humor to the role. But even his character arc felt rushed, particularly when his death and resurrection were crammed into the film's final act without sufficient emotional build-up. The uneven distribution of character development created a team that never quite felt balanced or fully realized. Rather than taking the time to develop 5 distinct characters into a cohesive team, the film seemed more interested in setting up potential sequels that would never materialize. Reason number 6. Product placement overload. While product placement is a reality in most big-budget films, Power Rangers 2017 took corporate sponsorship to such extremes that it became a significant detriment to the viewing experience. The film's most egregious example was its treatment of Krispy Kreme, which wasn't merely featured in the background but made a central element of the plot. The all-important Zeo Crystal, the MacGuffin that Rita seeks throughout the film, is inexplicably located beneath a Krispy Kreme store in Angel Grove. This leads to multiple scenes where characters mention Krispy Kreme by name, with Rita at one point stopping mid-battle to enjoy a donut while the camera lingers lovingly on the Krispy Kreme logo. The final battle literally revolves around protecting this donut shop from destruction. The product placement was so heavy-handed that it became a major talking point in reviews and social media reactions. The Telegraph's Robbie Collin called it an abjectly embarrassing frenzy of product placement. What makes this particularly disappointing is that the original Power Rangers TV series was itself created partly to sell toys, but it did so by making those toys genuinely cool and desirable throughout the show's storytelling. The 2017 film, by contrast, felt like it was stopping its narrative dead from delivering commercial messages, undermining whatever emotional investment viewers had managed to build. Reason number 7. Sacrificing iconic elements. Perhaps the most frustrating aspect of Power Rangers 2017's failure is how it squandered its own unique strengths in favor of generic blockbuster conventions, while simultaneously abandoning the franchise's most beloved elements. The film actually contained several elements that could have distinguished it from other superhero movies. The diverse cast, the focus on teenagers from difficult backgrounds, and the opportunity to update the colorful aesthetic from the original series for modern audiences all presented unique opportunities that were largely squandered. Instead of embracing the distinctive aspects of Power Rangers, the film seemed determined to follow formulas established by other successful franchises. The alien technology and suit designs evoked Iron Man, the team's discovery of their powers resembled Chronicle, and the overall structure mimicked countless other origin stories without anything fresh or unique added. But hey, that's just our opinion. What do you think? Could the 2017 reboot have been saved with a different approach? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into cinema's greatest disappointments. This video is made by movie fans, for movie fans.